Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome to Season 8 of the Fearless Fridays with Maryann podcast. I am your host, Maryann Rivera-Dannert, and in this season, we're embracing what it truly means to live an empowered life. It's time to step into your power, reclaim your voice, and rewrite your story. Join me on this journey of growth, resilience, and fearless transformation as we explore how to unlock the tools to thrive, not just survive. Get ready to nurture, heal, and rise as we become fearless, fabulous, and free together. Today we have an educator, author, survivor, and her name is Quentillia. She embodies perseverance and passion with a background in psychology. She merges expertise with personal experience to impact academia and literature. Today we are going to be discussing her recent #1 new release book collaboration, SurvivingHer Volume IV, with a bonus Surviving Him chapter, and the name of her chapter is Echoes of Abandonment. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So tell us, who are you?
Well, I am a mother of 2 and a wife. I'm just me, a teacher, your goofy cousin type person. That's just who I am.
Awesome. So tell us about your chapter, Echoes of Abandonment. Why that title, and what made you say yes to being a part of this book collaboration?
So I chose that title because I have been uncovering a lot concerning myself, finding the genesis of why I act a certain way, why I talk a certain way. So that was a path of itself. And then one of my sorority sisters actually told me about Miss Kathy doing a project. And she was like, I think you really should try it. I was like, okay, I'll try it. I've never wrote anything before. So this was kind of like a dive into the deep end just because I thought this would be great, get my story out, and also kind of figure out who I was as a person, because this project actually did that for me. It helped me tell somebody else my story, but it also helped me understand my story as well.
So how did you find the strength and the confidence to be able to write, part of your story that you have not shared before in writing?
Honestly, I was a nervous wreck. I got my husband to read it and then my mom. And as my mom is reading, I'm kind of giving her this side eye, I'm so sorry. I got to put it out there, but is it okay? Is it all right? So it was something that it was very scary, to be honest. But my mother, who is my #1 supporter, and literally the reason why I felt okay to write it, she was like, yeah, this is perfect. She's like, you need to do this for you. It's not about what I think. So that's what made the difference, honestly.
I love that, because sometimes when we're sharing our stories, there tends to be other people that have contributed in some way, negative or positive, to the situation. And sometimes we're a little hesitant on sharing our stories because we're afraid of what people are going to think, what they're going to say. And we oftentimes get stuck. So I'm very excited and happy to hear that you did have the support from your mom and the encouragement. So what are you hoping that the readers get from reading your chapter?
My biggest thing that I would love readers to get is go out there and figure out who you are. Do what works for you, and everybody else will fall in line. And if they don't fall in line, then that's okay too. If they leave, that's okay. It's all about you as an individual. It's all about how you live your life, because nobody can live your life for you. And if you spend your whole life trying to please somebody else, it doesn't work. You will find yourself in darkness. You will find yourself trying to figure out the next fad. You would often find yourself doing things you don't even like just because you want to please somebody else. So I would say, in reading this, I do hope that somebody sees this and they're like, you know what, it's time that I live for myself. It's time that I figure out who I am as an individual, and not who I am because I'm married, and not who I am because I'm a mother or a daughter. It's all in who you are. The rest of those things will fall in line once you figure out who you are, what you like, and who your personality is.
So what's one tip that you can give to our listeners on discovering who they are, and what's that first step that they should take?
I would definitely say the first step is to write it all down. Anything that comes to mind about you as a person, the good, the bad, the ugly, write it all down and then take a look at it. Once you've written it down and you take a look at it, you kind of see where you are. And it doesn't matter how old you are when you do this either. And after you look at it, then decide, are you satisfied with this? Did you reach all the dreams and goals that you had for yourself? And if not, then take that time to work on you, whether it's through therapy, through prayer, changing your circle. All of those things are the groundwork for figuring out who you are and freeing yourself, especially those that are dealing with abandonment. And because as you get older, abandonment isn't just from like a parent or a family member. There are times where you feel abandoned from your best friend. There are times where you have that rejection that lies within anything. So all of that, I would just definitely say, write it down and look at it. Because once you write it down and you just let yourself go, and you'll start writing down things that you forgot even happened. You will unleash those things that you put behind bars and behind that wall that you've built up. And it does a great thing for you. It's like taking a self-care day and for your mind, just shutting yourself off and reviewing everything that you've been through. It does help.
I love that. So what are you working on next? What's going on?
Well, I am actually getting ready to walk across the stage with my second master's. So I am literally taking a little break. I am thinking about doing a poetry book next. I have a lot of poetry and kind of reaching into the childhood side. I do have a daughter that's autistic. So those are the things I want to do for parents with special needs children. Kind of give them that, mindful poetry and things that say, this is how you get through that. This, on those days that it seems like you can't make it, just imagine it's another adventure, because with a child with special needs, every day is an adventure. So I'm literally putting all my effort and energy into something like that.
I love that. So congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
second master's. So you're married, you have a child with special needs. You recently became a, top new release book collaborator. How do you balance it all? How do you keep going?
Honestly, I would have to say it's nothing but God, because there are days I'm like, did I really just do all of this? Because I also work, I'm a 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher, and I have a 4th grader, a 3-year-old. So it's just like, it seems like chaos if you're on the outside looking in. But it's a well-oiled machine. My husband is truly like, okay, do you need this? What do you need? Is everything all right? So it's all about communication. Because if I'm tired, if I'm overwhelmed, I can lean on somebody else. My village is amazing, because without them, I don't think I would have been able to do any of it. But it's all about having the right people and somebody to push you when you think, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. It's all about that. Like, they're like, you can do it just a little longer. So it gives you that energy, that second win to go ahead and accomplish something else.
I love that. So definitely having the right tribe, the right support group has been very valuable.
Right.
What does self-care mean to you? How do you slow down and take care of you?
So don't judge, but for me, once a month I go get my nails done and I listen to true crime podcasts, and I'm just like all lost in true crime. It's because, I don't know, it's just something about forensics and the science and psychology behind it all that is very soothing to me. I can sit down with a textbook and read it for pleasure. So that's like who I am. My self-care is literally more just being more knowledgeable, finding new things, always trying something new. Like, I've tried the coloring thing, I've tried knitting, I've tried crocheting, and none of those things kind of pique my interest as much as sitting down with a psychology textbook and just learning something new.
And I love the fact that you mentioned that, because sometimes we get caught up in, what self-care means. And self-care is right in the name of the word self. What does it mean to you? And you've tried different things and you finally landed on something that works for you. So that's fantastic. You are on the Fearless Fridays podcast. How are you living a fearless life?
I am honestly, when I say jumping right into life, jumping right in. I do suffer from generalized anxiety. So every day I'm on edge, like, oh my gosh, this is something new for me. And literally to live my fearless life means to just go all for it. No matter how anxious I may feel, no matter how overwhelming it is, attack it head on and just enjoy life. Live it with no regrets and always trying something new. Because if I mess up, that's how I learn in life. Life is nothing but to live and learn from mistakes. So to be fearless means to just go on in for it.
You mentioned anxiety, and that just reminded me that I've been trying out Magic Mind, a mental performance shot. And it's been really helpful with my anxiety, helping me feel calm. It's a little green shot packed with natural ingredients, and it's designed to help you, stay focused, gain clarity, stay calm. And I wasn't sure at first if such a small little bottle could make a big difference, but it really has. On days when I feel like my mind is racing, it helps me slow down and stay present without feeling jittery or overstimulated. It's like this perfect balance of calm and clarity that helps me stay grounded and productive. You should give it a try. And they ship all over. And I have a code if you want to give it a, quick try. You'll save 20% off your first order. Let me know because I'm curious as to what you think of it. Oh, that code is fearless20. Just enter that at checkout. And it'll also be on the show notes, so you can always refer back to it. And where can our audience and our listeners connect with you and purchase a copy of the book?
You can connect with me on Facebook/Uniquely Freed. You can also go to uniquelyfreed.org. And I am on Instagram, Quentillia Crutchfield. That is Quentillia, and last name Crutchfield, Crutchfield.
Awesome. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love your podcast, by the way.
Thank you. Stay tuned for another powerful and inspiring interview featuring another incredible author from the Surviving Her Uncuffed Trauma anthology. You don't want to miss this raw and transformative conversation about resilience, healing, and empowerment. And today we are following up with another interview from the recent released book anthology. Today we have the founder and CEO of Links Center Inc. Sarah is the founder of the Learning and Integrating New Knowledge and Skills Center, a nonprofit organization that provides services to families caring for children diagnosed with mental health illness. So welcome. How are you today?
I am doing well, Maryann. Thanks for having me here. I feel so privileged to be a part of your podcast and to share a little snippet of some of my story with the viewers and listeners.
You're welcome. So I'm excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit more about you that I did not read in your short bio. Who is Sarah?
So Sarah is a mom, a wife, a grandmother. I am a second shifter, which means that I am raising grandchildren. So I'm having my second shift of raising children, which is a challenge, but also a blessing. I'm a server. I like and enjoy serving my community, my family, anything I can do to provide service to another person. That is a great part of my purpose. I feel like that is what I came to this earth to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So the name of your chapter is A Journey Through Time. So tell us a little bit about the chapter, the title, and what made you say yes to this amazing collaboration.
Okay, so I had been preparing 2 books over the course of a year. I had been writing, and because I work a full-time 40-hour job, a part-time job, contracting, I'm raising grandchildren, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of adult children, I have pets, I am always busy. So I was writing, whenever I had time or whenever I could make time. And what I discovered was where you are in your mindset when you're writing today might not be where you are when you're writing tomorrow. So my stuff really wasn't flowing. So I kind of just put it on the back burner and said, okay, when I have more time, I'll just commit to carving out a long period of time, maybe 2 or 3 days, where I could just write, and just let it flow. And then someone contacted me and said, "Hey, I know someone who's doing an anthology. I think you would be, a great fit for this project. Are you interested?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she gave me Kathy's information, and I responded and said, "I'm interested." And I found out a little bit about the anthology, and she shared who she was a little bit and what her project was, and that this is something that she does to give people a platform to sharing their stories as a healing agent. And I thought, yeah, I want to do it. But the thing that spiked me or prompted me more than any of those things was the fact that she was a domestic violence survivor. I come from a family that has experienced a lot of violence, and we have lost in total 4 women to domestic violence in my lifetime. And I thought it was important for me to use my voice, not only to share my experience as a parent and the challenges that I've had with working through the systems of care with my own kid, but the generational trauma that was passed on, that was living in me, that I wasn't aware of until my daughter's challenges presented. And I had to do my own healing. So that is why I decided, and those are some of the things that I talk about in my chapter.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So when a reader picks up the book and it's reading your chapter, what do you hope they get out of your chapter?
I hope a reader would find hope and inspiration. I tried to be as transparent as I could without, I like to say, I like to share my story and not my business because I don't want to bleed on anyone. And I think healing is a great part of the journey, so that when you are sharing, you're sharing from a healed lens, and you can give people the meat of it without giving them the fat. So that's what I'm hoping, that hearing the story will inspire and prompt others to use their voice to heal and to inspire and encourage others to do the same thing.
I love that. So when you were writing, were there any emotions that came up for you that you had to pause and make sure that you were okay to continue writing? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Oh God, yeah. Because I have been writing and because I've been in therapy, on and off over the years, I felt like I was in a good place in terms of sharing my story. I also work as a registered peer recovery specialist. So in the habit of sharing parts of my story to help others on their journey. But what came up for me when Kathy lost her son, and the connection that I have with my own sons and my daughter, I was overwhelmed with a lot of emotion because I can identify with the loss of a child. I talk a little bit in my chapter about ambiguous grief because I've lost the idea of what I thought my life would be with my child. The proms, the getting the learner's permit, her getting her own apartment, or maybe going off to college, getting engaged. Those are things that we've never experienced because of her challenges and because she has untreated mental illness. We had to forfeit those experiences. And I just thought, here's Kathy, helping us to share parts of our story. And she's lost her son, her only son, and the amount of grief that she must have to process through. But she never lost sight of helping us.
Right.
She continued to guide and support us, and she did not abandon the project. So I felt like even though I was identifying with some of the grief, I was inspired by the fact that she was modeling for us how to keep going, how to, step into that resilience, how to get that support from her family and friends, and how to just keep pushing through. That was really inspirational for me. Even now, when I think about her story and when I share that, we are a part of this great project and we became #1 bestsellers, I always highlight the fact that it is her experience and guidance that got us here.
Right.
Yes, our stories are important. And yes, our stories are the meat of the project. But her presentation and the way she wrapped it up and presented it to the world, I believe, is testament to it becoming #1 because people are only buying the book based on the presentation of it and what she has told us to do in order to get it from being on the paper to being an Amazon #1 bestseller.
It's amazing. So when someone is reading your story and someone is still dealing with things and not have come to complete healing. Now, I don't want to say complete because I think healing is an ongoing journey.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
What advice would you give to that individual to just, get up and keep going and not give up?
I would say find someone that inspires you. Find a story that bears witness with what you've been through. Look for a person who can model for you how to do this thing. It can be extremely overwhelming when you're going through it because you're hurting. A lot of times it's disappointment. You're grieving, oftentimes I share in my story, giving up parts of myself in order to do what I needed to do for my daughter. And that wasn't easy, because there is an element of self-preservation that we all have coming to the planet. So it's like, I'm a mother to other children. So I had to make provisions for them, but my daughter needed so much attention that at one point I ended up quitting a job so that I could care for her and sending my oldest son to live with their dad. That was extremely hard. But I had someone that I looked at and I looked to, and I said, if this person can do it, certainly I can do it too. God is not a respecter of persons. And if he does it for them, he'll do it for me. And I just, I looked to that and I read a lot of books. At that time, the person was Iyanla Vanzant. I knew that she had been married. She had been lied to about her lineage and who her mother was, being raised by a grandparent, being sexually molested. A lot of her story bear witness to my own story. And I just kept saying, if she can do it, I can do it too. I can get past this feeling of rejection and abandonment and feeling like I don't connect to the world around me because it's not a safe place. And I have to do this for my kid because I have to show up for her, the better version of myself. And, those are the things that I put into practice. I was very dutiful and I heard parts of your story as well. So I did try. It seemed like every spiritual principle I could find and every religious principle. And I highlight that in the book as well. I tried medication. I tried spirituality. I tried religion. I just wanted to heal, not just from what I was going through, because some of the experiences that I was going through with my kid was traumatizing. There was a time that she showed up naked at the door. She had been what they considered to be a lynching. Some children were jumping her for gang initiation. And just to see her face, she almost could have lost her sight. So it wasn't just my childhood traumas, but it was traumas that I experienced raising my kid that I needed to work through.
Yeah. So with everything that you have gone through and everything that you're currently doing, how do you take care of you? How do you ensure that you continue to get up and persevere and push forward?
I start out with just setting aside time for me. Every morning I get up, and I got this from someone that I used to attend church with. She came back for a women's conference and she shared the 5-5-5, which is 5 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of prayer, and 5 minutes of reflection or gratitude. And I've been incorporating that because my life is very busy and I get out of the bed a lot of times, or I wake up thinking what I have to do next. So taking that time to just give thanks for 5 minutes, to practice some soundness for 5 minutes, and then my prayers or my affirmations in the morning is how I start my day. I go outside and I put my feet on the ground and I just stand there and I practice mindfulness. So I live in the country. I listen to the birds. I listen to the sound of the wind. I feel the earth underneath me. I feel the air, fill my lungs, which is another expression of gratitude for me because I'm a person who grew up with asthma and struggled with breathing a lot. So I'm very grateful just for the breath of life. And then after I do that, I come in and I have my routine coffee or tea. And Oftentimes I will journal because that is one of my healing agents, being able to write down my thoughts and, my affirmations, what my plans and goals are, to be able to come back and look at those things later and check off what I need to do and what I have done, and then to celebrate those things as well that I have done. That's a new practice because I used to be so focused on what I needed to do or what I wanted to do that I didn't give myself the grace to celebrate the accomplishments that I had. So that is a new practice for me that I'm, exercising right now.
I love the fact that, number one, you have several different things, different avenues to incorporate into your healing and self-care. And also that you are celebrating yourself because, like you said, as women, we are oftentimes running and doing everything and all things for other people. And we're accomplishing one goal after another, but we never pause to celebrate our accomplishments, to celebrate, things that we have accomplished. And that can sometimes bring a little bit of resentment and feeling empty because you're just going, and you're accomplishing a lot of things, but you haven't celebrated. So I love the fact that that's important to you and that that's a new practice. So you are on the Fearless Friday podcast. How are you living a fearless life?
I am living a fearless life by being courageous enough to pursue all of the goals that I have set for myself. And my primary goal is to create a legacy for the generations behind me.
I love that. And where can our listeners and our audience learn more about you, connect with you, and purchase a copy of the book?
So they can purchase a copy of the book at the Link Center. It's just like it sounds, thelinkcenter.org. They can find me on Facebook at the Link Center. They can find me on Facebook at Sarah McFarland and on Instagram at the Link Center. They could also reach me at Sarah McFarland Consulting. It's just like that, sarahmcfarlandconsulting.com.
I love that. And I'll make sure to capture all of that in the show notes. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Fearless Warriors, don't forget to check out Magic Mind and get 20% off your first order. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to leave a 5-star review and share with a friend or two. If you're not already following us on social media, come join the Fearless community at MRD Empowerment Solutions on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website, MaryanN Rivera-Dannert.com. I'll catch you next week with a new episode, and remember that you are a priority and you matter.